we'd run it up or down, just a little saw action all the way down to open him up like this. Is then, as Chris mentioned earlier, all his guts would be in there. You can then hold him up like this and they will start to hang out. Then you get your fingers right up inside as far as you can up into the chest cavity and just pull it all out and it'll all... We're basically going to take his Gore-Tex jacket off. He's got Gore-Tex trousers and jacket on, so his waterproof's on. We're going to take that all off. So first thing we're going to do...
Mine's alive.
He's still alive?
No,
give him the good news.
There's that big old mallet.
First thing what we're going to do is, you will notice on the top and the bottom of the feet, on the legs, what would be right towards the end of the foot or end of the toes, there's ankle, what would be the ankle, okay? So you can bend that. What I'm going to do is you're going to snap it backwards on itself. Now you need to be very careful because once the bone is snapped it's going to be super sharp, so you can use it as a cutting tool. Okay, so you're going to snap it back on itself and then you're going to twist and then you're going to pull that off, being very careful of the snapped bone and very careful with your knife that's now loose around. So we don't need, hopefully don't need our knife at the moment. Once you've pulled that foot off, you will notice the tendons. It's a lucky foot. Now we've got his legs off, so front and back. We're now going to start to take his coat off. So you're going to lay him facing away from you and you're going to find inside, onto one side, you're going to find the flesh and the fur. And what you're going to do is you're going to start to prise that away. You should be able to do it with your fingers. It will be tough, but once you get it going, it will really just go. Yes, perfect. No one's done this before. Okay, you're going to work your way. So there we go. So we prise that off, and we're just going to start to pull all the way round. Same on the other side, until you can meet in the middle. So there we go, all the way round until you get Louis Vuitton bunny. Okay, so you've got your bunny handbag. Starting with his back legs, so you're going to hold him at the ankle, being very careful of that snapped bone. You're going to hold what would be his trouser leg, and you're going to push his leg up all the way through, and then you're just going to take off his trousers. So underneath his leg, you're going to have to push through a hole after the flesh. And reveal the leg, and then with there, carefully pull, and you'll take his trouser leg off, leaving his little disco boots on, his little fluffy socks. That's it. And exactly the same on the other side. So take his ankle, feed it through, put his coat, his trouser legs even, push it through, back legs off. I want you to hold his body and the fur round towards his bum, and I want you to carefully pull, and it will leave his little tail. Do exactly the same with the front legs and push them all the way up. So you might have to prise the fur up his body towards his head. First time we're going to use our knives. What I want you to do is lay him on his tummy. You're going to lift his tail so he goes up onto his knees, doing a bit of twerking. And then you're going to take your knife and you're going to do a tiny little V cut in towards its spine. You'll start to feel the bone. So either side of the tail, a little V cut into the tail towards it, from the tail in towards the spine. So you go cut in, then you're going to grab the tail right up to the bum, you're going to pull carefully, there we go, and pull out his anus. We're going to get the only bit of fur on there should be his disco boots at the back. We are going to cut them off in a bit, but for now, this is where someone mentioned, and I haven't, they're not actually in here. Anyone got any kidneys? Yeah. You'll notice on this rabbit, the kidneys are offset. So okay, so we've got all the coat off, he's got all his waterproof coat off. Now we're at the point, remember, with that deer, pretty much exactly the same, just on a smaller scale. Okay, so we're going to take exactly the same parts off of this. We're going to start, lay him on his belly, we're going to lift his front leg up. And this, again, the same as the deer, is a floating joint. So we're going to take your knife and you're just going to cut around that bone. If you lift it and move it around, you can see that shoulder blade floating. And you're just going to cut all the way around that, being very careful. The knife now, with the cold, wet, slippy hands. And cut that off. And you've got one shoulder there. Do exactly the same on the other side. So you lift it up, you can feel that shoulder blade moving around, and you're then going to cut around the bone, that floating joint. Exactly the same as Chris did earlier with that deer, just on a smaller scale. So you've got 2 front legs. On the ribs, you're going to hold it up. Just after the ribs, you're going to start sawing just along where the ribs end, all the way down until you've got your rabbit bacon come off there. And both sides, so hold it up just after the ribs, and you're going to saw down to the bottom. And there's your other bit of rabbit bacon there. So you've got 2 of them. You're going to take your rabbit and you're going to hold him up. And if it hasn't already, what we're going to do is we're going to snap the back leg or the hips. So we're going to snap them back. And you might feel some cracks in there. You're just going to snap that back and sort of draw them back towards each other. That just makes it easier for us. You can then turn him on over to his belly. And then what we're doing now is we're going to cut off his bum and his back legs. So from where his hip bone was, you're going to lift and you're just going to saw in until you feel the bone. Just being very careful all the way around. You can just lift that leg and just start cutting around that ball joint that was there. And then what you can do is squeeze, twist and pull. Try not to lose too much meat. And take that off, and there you go, there's one leg. We're going to cut that fur off of there as well. Exactly the same on the other side. So cut round up to the bone. Either side of that spine, just carefully, you will feel bone. And what you're going to do is try and cut off as much of that as possible. These are the best bits again. You will lose a bit of flesh on here, but try and cut off as much as you can. There you go, that's how much I've got off of that one. Okay, so both sides.
So down the spine first, is it?
Either side of the spine,
Either
yeah.
side.
And then just going to start to saw in and cut off as much of that as you can. Cutting all the bits of meat off, doesn't matter how big or small they are. And then that's all going to get fried up. Happy with that? Any questions?